So, with Brock Lesnar coming back, it does certainly seem like the John Cena retirement tour has now veered into the babyface lane. So, what do we think of the John Cena heel turn? That's what Toxic is asking in the Twitch chat right now. Again, if you're watching this after the fact, we do these live on a few streaming platforms. You can check those out on the overlay below. But this really does, I think, drive home a lot of the frustration around the John Cena heel turn. He had Toxic had a note in the chat here a little bit earlier. There we go. I don't know how you think about this, but Cena heel turn run was absolutely botched, in my opinion. LOL. Storyline was horrible. Zero momentum in anything during that run. Couldn't agree more. And it all felt like it was rushed to placate to something else, right? Like the inciting incident with Cena turning heel at Elimination Chamber was one of the great all-time moments in the absolute history of professional wrestling, with John Cena with the hug and then the meme face that he puts on. And then he kicks Cody right between the roads, and all of a sudden we have the heel turn. And at the time, you have that visual. It is Cena, it is Rock, it is Travis Scott as Dragoon Arc. I hope I'm saying that all right, Dragoon. But as saying on the YouTube chat, bungled from the start with The Rock and Travis Scott. If you just wanted to do a John Cena heel turn, there was a way to do it, and we could have had fun with it. And look, it was a little generic, it was a little whatever, but there was some fun to John Cena's a bad guy now. This is something new, and we haven't seen this before, right? Like, you had an evolution of the Sting character when they were doing the Sting retirement tour. It was just that he turned into New Jack, and he was jumping off of things, and his final match included a match with a pane of glass and people getting lit on fire and stuff like that. This one a little bit more mellow, but it's an involvement. It's something different. It's something we haven't seen from this character before. So it's kind of cool that we are seeing this. And so it was bungled right from the start, like you said, with The Rock and Travis Scott. But that moment was so huge. And to tell us, if you were to go back to that night in Toronto and say, so by the way, here's how it's all going to play out. The Rock's barely going to get mentioned on the road to WrestleMania. Travis Scott is going to take an hour and a half to come down to the ring at Mania, kind of killing a lot of the momentum a subpar match had anyway, and kind of sort of play into the finish, and then John Cena is going to win. He's going to be pretty generic. Again, still no mentions really of The Rock for a while. Gonna have the matches you want. Randy Orton, CM Punk, we're doing those sorts of things again. And then the end to this, the entire end game of John Cena turning heel is he's going to cut one promo on Friday Night SmackDown the night before SummerSlam, and he's just going to be a good guy now. I think we all would, if it was our future selves coming to tell us that back in the past, we would have punched our future selves in the face, saying, why would you even speak such evil into existence? This has been bungled, 100%. This was awful how this whole thing was handled. And so it was, looking at it now, it was so obvious that they just wanted The Rock to pop a number because they were worried about ticket sales in Toronto. And so they shoehorn him into this thing that they had no real vision of trying to pay off, and then have to try to maneuver it. And then the way we come out it is, well, we're bringing Brock Lesnar back, so we need to turn you babyface now, so can we just do it with one promo and now everyone's happy and loves you again? There's no thought. There's no long-term planning. And when you look at where WWE has been so effective and all the beats of the story that led to Cody finishing the story at WrestleMania 40 and how that was all laid out, and obviously they altered plans and everything like that, but how there was all this progression leading up to that big moment and how big that felt, that's when they're at their most effective. When it is just, well, let's fly by the seat of our pants because we need to do this and we need to do this and we need to do this, that's not the way to handle any storytelling, including this is, you don't get to do this again. John Cena's retiring at this. And from all accounts, this isn't going to be Terry Funk, where this is the first of 15 retirements that he does. This is going to be it. And this is the story that we are doing. It is like, even if you didn't plan on having The Rock come back for WrestleMania or SummerSlam, by the way, there was still a way to have him as just this ever-present final boss hanging over everything. But like they barely even mention it coming off of that. And like the whole story is just John Cena now turning on the fans and has nothing to do with what The Rock did. And you could have still somehow tied that all in and made it entertaining, even if Rock wasn't going to be there for any of it. So this really does feel like the waste of a very, very good angle from the Elimination Chamber, and it feels like a waste of the first now 7 months of this final year that you have with John Cena. And now coming out of it, I think like there was concern that the stuff with CM Punk would kind of hurt his reputation, and I think there has been a little bit of damage done to that. But in terms of him being a draw as a babyface, that hasn't changed. But Cody was the biggest babyface in the industry when he wins the championship at WrestleMania 40, and now with not one hint of a heel turn, he's booed at SummerSlam. So you, in one whole thing, in just the span of what would it be? It's not even 8 months. The thing happened in February, so 6 months. You have had an all-time moment, wasted it entirely, and you have now basically knocked everyone down a peg. You have taken your top moneymaker and your best babyface and now turned people against him, and you hurt the reputation of CM Punk to a way that, like, again, he's going to be fine as a draw, but you hurt his reputation, I think, not insignificantly with this whole thing. So what benefit came from any of this with the John Cena heel turn? Was it an effective use of John Cena? It was not. Was it entertaining? At times, sure. At other times, a little boring. Not a little generic, little one note throughout the whole thing. Did we elevate anybody? Well, we did not. Is John Cena in a better or different place? He is not. What was gained? Aside from The Rock got to do this and everyone thought it meant something. Also, just a quick aside, I am done reading the tea leaves of what WWE is. Oh, well, nothing's by accident. Look, you have The Rock beating up Cody right by a trailer that has Stone Cold's face on it. That has to mean something. And then it didn't mean something. Well, The Rock did this and he put the... And he, when he was acknowledging Roman Reigns, he actually acknowledged it with a gun thing. So that obviously means... It doesn't. None of it meant anything. No whatever. Oh, well, maybe this, maybe da-da-da-da-da. No, I'm done. They need to surprise me with something like that again before I'm going to, oh, well, and actually this means this and this means this. It's not Easter eggs that they're laying out. It's just The Rock does shit with his hands weird. That's basically it. So I am very, very frustrated with this. And it feels like a gigantic waste of our time for 6 months with our final 6 months with John Cena. It feels like an absolute waste. So there's a few chats here in the a couple of the chat rooms that we are in. Dragoon Arc is saying, I doubt we see The Rock much, if at all, the rest of the year as he tries to kiss ass to get Mean Machine Oscar nominations. They're certainly trying on WWE programming, that's for damn sure. I haven't watched a UFC live, so I've been able to just fast forward through a bunch of stuff. So, but I'm assuming that that's going to come up a lot on those broadcasts as well. So no, you're right. Like, we probably don't see a whole lot of The Rock. Very much in the future. We have Brady Hitman who's saying, hey, how's it going? And then he came in for a chat later. If it wasn't for The Rock, I believe Cena's heel turn would have been phenomenal. I agree with you. That's the thing. Like, we have all, as wrestling fans, for a really, really long time, thought about what John Cena's heel turn would look like. And the start of it looked so great, right? Like, and that's where I get just so, like, you had something right there. And even if Travis Scott was going to be kind of shitty to deal with, and even if The Rock was also going to be shitty to deal with, but just if The Rock wasn't going to come back, there was still a way to tie that whole thing into this. And it didn't. And it forced them to try to force in a few different whatevers, and you get a few fun moments out of it. But with Cena, like, calling out the kid in, what was it, Germany or something like that? Like, that was funny. And I know a lot of people's mileage varied on the John Cena pipe bomb. I thought it was entertaining. Like, we got some fun things out of it, but just think of all the different ways you could have done a John Cena heel turn and have it have been so much fun to do. And this is what we get. This whole thing is what we get. And the final angles of this whole shebang is John Cena saying, "No, I'm good. I don't want to wrestle at WrestleMania," or sorry, at SummerSlam, getting taken out and forced to sign a contract. That barely being brought up. Him cutting a very babyface promo the next week on SmackDown, and now he's just a good guy again, and oh, hey, Brock Lesnar just happens to be here. That is the other aspect of it. I don't think I really covered it as well as I wanted to going through it. So you have to, like, placate to The Rock to try to, we need to pop a number in Toronto because we decided to go to the fucking baseball stadium for no reason. So we need to try to do this. So let's bring The Rock in for this one big thing. Instead of, okay, what's the best way to do this story? And what's the best way to handle this? So that's frustrating. And then, instead, like, there's a way. We had talked about it. I was still holding on to hope that you could still tie in all the bullshit that happened at Elimination Chamber that we should have gone at WrestleMania and tied it all in to now this at SummerSlam, where Cody has decided now that he is the one who it needs to sell his soul to get his championship back to his family. He is going to do that. And so because of this, we now have this double turn with Cody actually going with The Rock, the final boss, because he just needs this championship so badly. And everything that comes with it. And John Cena recognizing what he has done. And now you have Super Cena back going up against that whole thing to kind of close it all out. Instead, it's one promo out of nowhere and then a quick babyface turn because Brock Lesnar's back and we need something big for somewhere. I just hate it. I hate every aspect of it with something that should have been a highlight of this year. A couple more here in the chat. We have quite a bit, actually. You guys are doing awesome today. I mentioned before that Sting was the New Jack. He turned into New Jack. We have AJ Druid saying New Jack was too extreme for WWE and would have killed someone in the ring. Probably true. Yes. No. That was not to expound the virtues of one Jack, New. That was just to say that Sting, instead of, oh well, I'm just gonna keep it safe, brother, and blah, 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 he's like, no, I'm gonna jump off shit. And we're going to have some fun. That's kind of how he did it. But yes, no, New Jack, there's a lot that goes on with that particular conversation. AJ Druid saying they could have done something like Gunther versus Punk with Rollins cashing in on him and having that go viral with Oba or Trick. Yeah, like to have another big surprise as like some kind of, whether it's a group coming out or something. Or like, honestly, like even like, I do think having Oba Femi attacking John Cena would be unbelievable. I don't think it gets you the reaction that you want to close out SummerSlam. And while I do think sometimes we hold on too much to, oh, well, what's the reaction going to be? I think sometimes you do have to. And at a football stadium for the second part of your biggest SummerSlam ever that you were saying, that one, while I think it would have been cool, I think it may have fallen a little bit flat there. But if you wanted to have Oba come out as part of some kind of a group or something along those lines, that I think that would have been really, really cool to do. I still think that this whole thing ends with Braun Breaker beating John Cena in his final match. I think it would have been great if it would have been for the title, but I think that would have complicated things a little bit. But I still think that should be the last one that Cena kind of does the honors to. But no, you're right. Like it would have been cool to have anyone else coming in to help things out with Brock Lesnar. And you could even like have Cena be the head of a new faction with a couple baby faces coming in. So there's just so many different things they could have done, and all of them would have been better than whatever that was that we got. AJ Druid also saying, what happened to Travis Scott? We don't know officially, and probably never will. All the reports is that this dude is not the easiest of human beings to work with, and so they just have decided to not anymore. That, from all accounts, that's what's happened with that one. And then Brady Hitman also saying, as soon as I saw Cena hit a co-red at SummerSlam, it was automatically better than WrestleMania. Yeah, there will be different videos. I don't think we'll do it as a live anymore, but there'll be different videos of me breaking down what we saw from SummerSlam. That match was a million times better than their WrestleMania match. And maybe it's because expectations were vastly different for both, but that match was a whole lot of fun. It's just, again, how we got to it and how it ended that was so incredibly frustrating. We have Brady saying Brock in War Games would be something I would like to see. I kind of said before, Brady, Brock in anything is nothing I would like to see. I even from just a wrestling standpoint, wasn't clamoring for him to come back. But that certainly would be a unique utilization of him. And having, I mean, right, like, he's been away from Paul Heyman for a while now, but they haven't both been heels for a while. So now they're different shows, so maybe whatever. But like having Brock kind of assemble his own kind of dangerous alliance. I guess if you wanted to, like, a few people were saying like, oh man, a classic rivalry. It's like, I have never viewed John Cena against Brock Lesnar as like one of Cena's all-time great things, right? Like, it's not Randy Orton, it's not CM Punk, it's not Batista, it's not Edge. It's not even The Miz or Roman Reigns or any of that. I don't view it on that same level. But since they were so big into the throwbacks at SummerSlam with the Dominic Mysterio and AJ Styles thing, which was awesome, by the way. But since they were so big into that, you did at one Survivor Series, it was basically Team Big against Team Little. And it was like Big Show, I think they still had Matt Morgan then, and Brock Lesnar, like Nathan Jones, against John Cena and a few other like mat-based sort of guys. That'd be an interesting concept in a War Games. It's just like Brock Lesnar and just a bunch of big dudes taking on John Cena and a bunch of not as big dudes. I think that'd be an interesting concept for a War Games if they wanted to do that. So a lot of different ways that they could go with John Cena going forward. It's just the fact of how they did go with him in the past is really, really frustrating. So, yeah, the John Cena heel turn, it's a thumbs down. And it feels like it wasted a lot of potential and basically went the only way that you could have it go without injury, where it would suck. And that's really, really unfortunate.